Hi everybody, I'm Commish Orr. Who's better, a team of American League or National League Hall of Famers, or a team of great players not in the Hall of Fame? Find out now on Baseball Maelstrom. It is April 6th, and we are at the Polo Grounds as the Oakland Jacks come into town to face the New York Swats. New York has struggled so far. They're 1-4. Oakland 2-3 in the American League. Taking the mound for the Oakland Jacks, their ace Bob Feller, and he will face off against the New York Swats' Nolan Ryan. Red Faber, I believe, was the ace for the New York Swats, but the manager made a decision to move Nolan Ryan up in the rotation. We'll see if that was a good thing or a bad thing here in a minute. So the most interesting thing happened actually in the very first inning, the top of the first, when Mickey Cochran came up, and I had a rare play that I had not seen before. I mean, I've played 20 games so far, so I'm not going to see all the rare plays, but it was pretty cool. And there was a wild pitch by Nolan Ryan, and that allowed Mickey Cochran to actually reach first base, even though he struck out. And that was actually the interesting thing about that is that George Brett moved him to third with a single, and then Reggie Jackson grounded out to score Cochran. So there was a run there in the first inning by Oakland that shouldn't have happened because of the Nolan Ryan's wild pitch. So pretty interesting stuff. Other than that, for Oakland, they were fairly quiet until the eighth inning. And then in the eighth, Nolan Ryan allowed a leadoff Hank Greenberg homer, struck out Robin Yount, and then two singles by Minnie Minoso and Joe Gordon, and Satchel Paige came in to try to maintain the New York lead, because at that point it was 4-2 or 4-3, excuse me. So he was trying to maintain the lead, but promptly allowed a single to Rod Carew to tie the game, and then another single to George Brett to put him ahead 5-4 at that point. So Satchel Paige not able to really get it done. New York really without a classic classic closer, we'll say. Satchel Paige kind of taken on that role, but New York is the one team that doesn't have a standard closer, if you will. So that kind of reared its head here. Satchel Paige is probably their best reliever, and even then, it's like it's not really. I don't know if he really fits that role too well, but that's kind of what we're stuck with. Satchel Paige wouldn't allow another. He'd allow a single and a hit by pitch in the next inning, but that was it. And then Walter Johnson came in and had two perfect innings of relief, because the game went into extra innings. After, in the bottom of the eighth, if we go to the New York side of things, we see that New York had a big inning in the fourth, thanks to Bob Feller. And let me say this, Bob Feller was allowing runners pretty much in every inning. He never had a nice, didn't really get into a groove. And in the fourth, he got the first two batters out, then allowed back-to-back singles before Wade Boggs hit a 2-run shot to give them 3 runs in the fourth. He'd allow another run in the fifth thanks to a Babe Ruth homer. But that was it. So again, in the eighth, with Oakland up 5-4, New York would actually score. Bob Feller was still in the game at that point, just because of reliever usage, and he was still not doing too bad at that point. Ken Griffey Jr. let off the walk, stole second, and then Mickey Cochran threw it away, so allowed Griffey to get to third, and then Harry Heilman followed with an RBI single to tie the game at 5. As I mentioned, we went to extra innings. Mariano Rivera had an inning and a third of solid relief work. Turned things over to Jim Cott. Wasn't sure how long this game was going to go. And Jim Cott actually pitched well. Got the first 2 batters in the 11th out, the bottom of the 11th. And then Ken Griffey Jr. hit a walk-up homer. So to win it 6-5 for New York. Oakland, 5 runs, 13 hits, and 2 errors. And New York, 6 runs, 10 hits, and 1 error. If we look at the pitching, if we go back and look at the hitting lines, we see, Wade Boggs was 2 for 3 with 2 RBI for New York. And walked 3 times. So Wade Boggs was a terror in this game, getting on base 5 of the 6 times he was up. Ty Cobb had 2 sacrifices after Wade Boggs walks that neither one of them amounted to a run or scored Wade Boggs later on in the inning. Other than those 2 sacrifices, Cobb was 0 for 4 to drop his average to 0.43. He's just really struggling in this league. Griffey, 2 for 5 with that homer, the deciding home run in the 11th. And Oakland, Rod Carew was 3 for 6, 3 singles. And George Brett was 3 for 5. Joe Gordon in the 9th spot was 2 for 3 with a walk, 2 runs scored. So those were the hitting standouts. Pitching wise, Bob Feller had 7 2/3 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 6 walks, but struck out 9. Mariano Rivera with the inning and a third of great relief work there, only allowing a hit. And Jim Cott had a 1 2/3 innings pitched, actually pitched well other than allowing that walk-off homer. New York, Nolan Ryan, 7 1/3 inning, allowed 10 hits, 5 earned runs. He did walk 2, struck out 8 though. Satchel Paige, despite blowing the save, had an inning and 2/3, allowed 3 hits, but didn't allow another run of his own. And Walter Johnson, 2 perfect innings of relief work for him. He picks up the win in this one. And New York goes to 2-4, and Oakland drops to 2-4. That's all for now. Subscribe now or head over to baseballmaelstrom.com to follow the action. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Baseball Maelstrom.